Finally, Leica cameras catch up with other camera brands when it comes to flash photography. Today we're talking about using Leica cameras with high speed sync and the triggers that I use and the lights that I use. All that coming up, the cameras that work, the cameras that don't work, and other cameras which are probably the best option if you want to shoot flash with your Leica camera. Hey guys, Matt here from MrLeica.com. If you're a new viewer, I've been enjoying Leica cameras for the last decade or so. I teach Leica photography workshops. When I'm not making YouTube videos, I'm a model photographer. For portraiture, you need to know your lighting, and so I was an early adopter of Godox back in the day when they first came to the UK, and the camera batteries are kind of the same size as like a car battery. Over the years, the lights got smaller and smaller and smaller, and so did the triggers. This is the latest generation triggers from Godox. They're called Godox X3 triggers. I've been using them for probably about 12 months. I've been using the Nikon mount Godox triggers because I know that with a central pin, you can fire flash in manual mode on all the different Leica cameras, whether it's film cameras or digital cameras. So what's changed? Well, in the past, you could only shoot flash up to the maximum flash sync speed of your particular camera. So 250th of a second on the CL, 180th of a second on the M cameras, 250th on the SL, and a measly 50th of a second on the Leica film cameras. On M cameras, you look where the little red lightning bolt is, and that tells you your maximum flash sync speed that you can use flash without getting like a black band across your image. Now we should quickly mention Leica Q series cameras. Leica Q series cameras are slightly different because these are leaf shutter lenses. This means you can sync flash in manual mode all the way up to 2000th of a second and still have perfect photos. Leica Q cameras really are the best setup if you want to use flash photography with your Leica camera, and especially now you've got the Leica Q3 because you're not limited to the wide angle lens of a normal Leica Q series, that being a 28mm prime lens. So Leica Q cameras are already fine and they were already the go-to for flash. So what's changed since then? Well, now Godox have released their Godox X3L trigger. This is specifically designed to work with Leica cameras and give you both TTL and high-speed sync. If you look at the trigger itself, it's pretty much identical to the previous model, except it's now got a metal foot. I'm not sure if that was an upgrade for all models, but it's definitely on the L mount. When you're buying a X3 trigger for Leica, make sure it says L on the side. When I was buying my trigger from Amazon, I noticed there were listings that were cheaper that said works with Leica, but it didn't actually say an L on the side. This is because, strictly speaking, the Godox X3N will work with Leica, but it doesn't give you TTL or high-speed sync. So make sure you get the L. I'll put a link below to the exact unit if you're trying to get one. So what's the difference between high-speed sync flash and normal flash? With a high-speed sync flash, it means you can normally sync up to the maximum shutter speed of your particular camera and the flash will still work. The only difference is your flash will now be on roughly 50% of the power because it kind of micro pulses, as I understand it, rather than one big flash. Now, just a quick tip on how to set up high-speed sync. The trigger itself will automatically know what your flash unit is set to. And so let's say you're using a Godox AD100 Pro like I use. All you do on an AD100 Pro is hold down the zoom button where it's got the little H next to it. As long as that H is in the window, you've now got high-speed sync. This works well on the Godox AD100 Pros, the AD200s and various similar lights. I think the AD300s, AD600s, etc. So what does that mean when it terms to actually physically using the cameras? What it means is, let's say you're using a Leica CL. If you're a Leica CL user and you missed it, I did a very detailed blog post. I'll link that below if you want to get more info on CL cameras. With Leica CL, you can go up to 8,000th of a second shutter speed and still have high-speed sync flash, which is amazing. And that's exactly the same also with the Leica SL series cameras. Now, what about the trusty M cameras? Something like the M10P only has a maximum mechanical shutter speed of 4,000ths of a second. That means you can sync flash to 4,000th of a second, which is amazing. So I've been doing this on a lot of my recent shoots. You will see more examples coming up in lens reviews in the next maybe few weeks because I've been using flash for the portraits for those videos. So it definitely works for the CL, it definitely works with the M10, M10P because it's the same camera. Well, mine was converted from a 10 to a 10p, and it works with the original SL. What about film cameras? Sadly, you can't use high-speed sync with Godox flash on a Leica M film camera. And then also if you use older cameras such as Leica M240, this is a Leica M262, and also probably cameras like the M9 and the M8. High-speed sync with a Godox X3L trigger doesn't work with my Leica M262, sadly. So if you've got these cameras and if you've got this trigger, let us know in the comments if you've got the trigger to work with your particular Leica camera. Now, what about M11 users? Now, I believe there's a note on the Godox website that says it won't currently work with the Leica M11 and M11P. That may have changed because I'm not sure how long ago the wording was put up, and I imagine it only takes a small firmware update on either the camera or the flash or the trigger to suddenly get it to work with all Leica cameras or all modern Leica cameras. So let us know in the comments if you've got an M9, an M240, M11, M10R, SL3 or any camera that I've not got, and whether you've got it working with this trigger. If so, how did you get it to work? For me personally, I bought the trigger from Amazon, took it out of the box, and it immediately worked with the CL, the M10 and the SL, and I did no firmware updates to the trigger, the cameras or the flash units themselves. So out the box it works straight away. So finally we've caught up with other camera brands and now we can shoot high-speed sync flash. This is really important if you're, say, a model photographer or wedding photographer, because you can dim daylight and then create better lighting artificially by using flash. I have done videos and blog posts before on flash and things, so I can link some resources below if you want to get more info. To see me working with lighting, check out my Patreon videos where I've made over 100 videos showing how I work with models and lighting. If you're looking to get into model photography or to improve your portrait skills, check out my ebook. And to see how I use continuous lighting, check out this video next. Thanks as always to my amazing patrons.